This is The Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, and I have a very special guest on the show today, Justin Sutton of IGP Manager. IGP Manager is very much like a fantasy sports type game. It's actually a racing simulation fantasy sport, more like a fantasy manager, if you've ever played any of those types. IGP's been around for a long time now, and it's a lot of fun. I did a few seasons myself, and I always talk about diversion games, things you can do when you're not being that hardcore sim racer, but I'm still always pulled towards the automotive or racing genre of games, even in the name of fun. So, welcome to the show, Justin. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Very happy to be here.
And, like I said, I played many years, but maybe people watching don't know a lot about IGP. Why don't you just give us a quick description of IGP Manager?
Yeah, so as you said, it's a motorsport management game. So you kind of take on the role of like team principal, and you control your drivers and your cars and the development path that they take, and the training of your drivers and all that kind of stuff. And you get to go out there. There's leagues that have single car and two car leagues, and you can go out there and manage one car or two. You can spend a lot of time on it. You can spend a little bit of time on it, and it's just a lot of fun for people that enjoy motorsports that want to do something a little bit more casual than getting behind the wheel.
Totally get it. Now you mentioned leagues. This is a multiplayer environment, so this isn't just hopping on and playing alone.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that separates IGP Manager from a lot of the other ones out there, and not just motorsport management games, but other just general sport management games. Is that this one is multiplayer? You can play with your friends. You can play against your friends. Rather, I guess is the more appropriate word. You can meet new people as well. I kind of did a combination of the two. The first league I joined, there was some people I knew, but made a whole bunch of new friends in the process as well. And yeah, that's what we really focus on. Is we want it to be a fun thing to do with other people.
Okay. Now, when I think of like a fantasy sport, I draft a league and then I sit back on Sunday and I wait for the game to play out. I get my points. That's quite a bit different than what I would do experiencing IGP Manager.
Yeah,
Why? Yeah. Tell us a bit about that interaction.
Yeah, so you choose how hard your driver pushes. For example, if you've developed your car enough to have KERS, you choose when to deploy that KERS and that sort of stuff. So it's not so much a sit back and watch type of thing as you mentioned, but rather you're really involved in the strategy. You tell your drivers when to pit. You go in there with a pre-planned strategy, but as with many races in general, that strategy can change partway through. It could start raining. We've got real world weather. It bases it off real weather satellites and all that kind of stuff. So you're very much involved in the race. You're calling these guys in. You're choosing the tires. You're deploying the KERS. So yeah, you're very much involved. And a lot of people will start out with just a one car league. That's how I started out. Just managing one car. It's a lot easier to wrap your head around. And then you can move up to the two-man teams where you got two drivers, and it becomes a little bit more complex and stuff like that. And you have a lead driver and all that. But yeah, it's you're much more involved in the game versus the typical sort of fantasy game that you might be used to.
And that completely differentiates it from like a fantasy league or even a lot of the other managers for that matter.
Yes, yeah, it definitely does. Yeah, IGP's been around for a very long time, and that's something that was a big focus. Jack, the leader of IGP, the sort of president, if you will, Jack is adamant about having online play, people playing with each other, getting together with your friends and really making an event of it. And that's a lot of fun. With other games, you could sit down and you can play, and then you can stop playing and that kind of stuff. But you don't have that banter, that communication. You're not having fun with your friends and stuff. So that's what we wanted to do with IGP.
Yeah, very cool. Now, I understand at the end of the month, you guys are launching a completely new version of IGP. I mean, a lot of other games or sims would actually rename or brand it with a 2.0 or something. It sounds like you guys have made that kind of a leap. What kind of stuff are we going to see in the future?
So what we've done with this update is we've updated the UI, so the game looks a lot more modern than it did before. People that have played IGP in the past, they'll still be very familiar with the user interface and the graphics and the tracks and all that kind of stuff. It'll still seem very familiar, but we've kind of modernized everything, made it look a little bit slicker and a little bit smoother. And there's you can now customize the length of races a little. You can have a 2 hour long kind of full distance distance Grand Prix. You can have a 10-minute sort of quick race if that's what the people in your league prefer. There's tens of thousands of managers out there as well. So I mean, there's leagues happening all the time, all around the world. One thing that's not implemented, that's not necessarily ready for release at the end of this month, but we're looking to bring in the near future is actually we want to have various languages. We want the website to be available in Spanish and Italian and Russian and German and all that kind of stuff, and really bring in people from across the world that can join a league that races at the times and the days that they want to race on. If you only want to race at 2 p.m. on a Saturday, there's a league that races at 2 p.m. on Saturdays. There's something for everybody. And we've gone ahead and opened up with the previous version of IGP Manager. You had to have a subscription in order to view the 2D races. But now that the 2D races where you see the track map and the cars going around and everything, that's free to everybody. Absolutely everybody gets access to that, so that it's much more everybody's on par with one another, and you can see what's going on circuit. We had the live timing in the past. We've decided to just blow the doors off that, and now everybody gets that 2D access. And that's probably, if you ask me, that's the big feature of the new update, is everybody getting 2D for free.
I completely agree. To be honest with you, back when I played, I had my paid account, and then I had my cheater account, which was not paid, and I would use it to do pre-testing, and
Yep.
I mean, I was up to all sorts of shenanigans, but I never had the map view when I do the race, so I'd set up a second computer, so that is a huge upgrade. Right now, this is a PC-based game.
That's right. Web browser based specifically. We want pretty much any computer that's built in the last 6 or 7 years or so to be able to run it. It doesn't have to be a gaming PC. It's a browser based game.
Right. So it'd probably even run on my laptop. Well, I know it used to back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it should run on laptops and tablets and all that kind of stuff. It should work in any sort of browser. The new one is based on the WebGL technology. I'm not a programmer, so I won't go too in depth about that. But they've really tried to make it They've tried to make it as accessible to as many people as possible.
Okay. And now a little bird tells me that you guys are looking to do some cross-platform stuff in the future.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, later this year, we're looking to launch the mobile version of the game, which will be available on iOS and Android and all that kind of stuff, so that you can play both on your computer or you can play on your phone. You can even have them both open simultaneously, even. So, if you prefer sitting at the computer, but you got to go in the backyard and take care of something, you can bring your phone with you. If you're the type of person that just prefers to play on the go, you can just do that. And it's all the same managers. It's not just that the desktop people are playing against desktop people. Everybody's can play with each other. So we really wanted it again. And that just opens up the player base so that you can be matched up with people with similar interests, or who are in similar time zones and want to race at similar times. And it just really opens that up to race how you want to.
Okay. Now that immediately makes me think of a couple of things. Number one, when I used to play, I had my Sunday morning race, and it was like, okay, you had to be there at 9 a.m. like any other kind of racing league. And there were times that, let's face it, life gets in the way. Well, if I had the phone version, I could see myself being at breakfast with the family or wherever I am, and like, hold on, I'm going to go, I got to do some quick work here.
I got to pit for full wets real quick. Give me just a moment.
Yeah, so that's pretty awesome. That also leads me to think, do you guys have any kind of quick race function? I mean, if I'm on the go, I might not have time for a long race or have time for a committed league, but I might be bored out of my mind somewhere and need to play some IGP.
Yeah. That's definitely something that we've thought about, and that's something that we're hoping to introduce. I can't give you any firm dates on that or anything like that, but yeah, we love the idea of being able to just jump into a race, whether it's just a head-to-head race with someone. Some guy says, "Oh yeah, I'm sure I'd wipe the floor with you in your car," and you want to prove him wrong, and you guys could just jump into a race real quick. We don't know for sure if there would be any sort of rewards system for it or anything like that, if it would have any effect on your world ranking, because of course we do have a ranking system where you can compare yourself to other players of the game and that sort of thing. We don't know if it would have any sort of effect on that, but that's something that we're very interested in, is the ability to just jump in and have a quick race. Like you said, if you're on the go somewhere and you're bored, you're waiting in line somewhere and you want to have a quick race, we want to add that. So that's definitely something we're thinking about.
Okay, now you guys say the 2D map is now included in the basic package, which immediately prompts me to think, well, everybody in the world is just going to play it for free. I assume you guys want to stay in business,
Yep.
let alone make some money. Um, how are you going to make money? How are you going to fund this if you're giving people what was really the meat and the potatoes before?
Right. Yeah. So as you mentioned, and as I touched on earlier, the subscription for the 2D services is what kept the bills paid, kept the lights on, as it were. And since that's going totally free for absolutely everybody, we now have this token system. Tokens, and I'm a gamer, not just a racing gamer, but just a gamer in general. And with a lot of free-to-play games, you get a bit worried because they have two types of currencies. They have the currency that you earn from playing the game, and then you have the currency that you earn from paying real money. With IGP, it's all the same thing. You can buy some tokens, or you could just earn them from racing. Let's say you're in a league with your friends, and you guys have been playing for a few months. You're pretty high up. You have some pretty well-developed cars, and one of your buddies wants to join in, but he doesn't want to be a backmarker at every single race. So if he wants to, he can pay for some tokens, catch up a little bit with you guys, and be on par. But at the same time, paying for tokens does not get you anything that you could not get on your own. It just kind of maybe speeds up the process. Some people have a lot of free time. Some people don't have so much free time, and we want to cater to everybody as much as we can. And that's a big focus of ours. We wanted it to be very fair. We certainly don't want people, it's not a pay to win system or anything like that. We wanted it to be as fair as possible, which is why we made the 2D free. And basically, if you decide that you want to buy some tokens, that's just going to help you move up a little bit. But there is, you hit a certain point, and then that's that. So, you can decide how you want to play, basically. If you want to invest time on it and not money, totally fine. That you're not going to be locked into anything. You're not going to be slower than anybody. Everybody's got the same opportunities, and that's what we're doing now with the new system. Everybody gets the 2D, and if you'd like to advance a little bit quicker up the ladder, you're more than welcome to do that. If you'd rather just put the time in, then that's the way to do it for you.
That's awesome because, and that's quite a bit different than most of the other massive multiplayer type scenarios where there is a differentiation between earned points and bought points and what you can do with them,
Exactly.
and limitations on earned points, quite honestly. So, I mean, so basically, just for anybody who didn't really catch that, if you put in your time, you are going to advance as far and as fast as somebody who spent $1 billion buying tokens.
Yep, exactly. Nobody can come in with $1 million, buy all the tokens, and be the fastest person on the planet. They'll just be as fast as the other top guys that put in the time and the effort and the work and that sort of thing. So what we wanted to do is we really wanted options. We wanted choice for the consumer. If you like the game but not enough to the point where you want to spend a lot of money on it or anything, that's fine. That's totally fine. We're happy to have all the free players that we can get. But if you don't want to spend so much time in it, you want to jump into a top league straight away, the option's there for you.
Awesome. So right now, IGP, or at least in the past, it was Formula One type cars, Formula One type tracks. Is there any thoughts of going in a different direction? I mean, whether it be oval or whether it be like GT cars or anything?
Yeah, that's been talked about for sure. I won't. I can't guarantee that anything's going to happen with that, but that is a discussion that we've had at IGP. Jack and I have talked about it. Different cars, different options. Older style F1 cars, GT cars, as you mentioned. Maybe even like fictional type cars, futuristic type cars that you don't see on the road and won't see even in racing anytime soon. That's kind of the nice part about video games is that you can kind of go crazy with it. And we don't have anything finalized or anything like that, but it's an interesting idea for sure. There's a lot of different motorsports. That's one of the great things about our sport is the variety. You can really find what works for you, and I think to offer that variety would be fantastic. But I can't give a firm date on anything or anything like that.
Excellent. Very cool. Now you guys have been running a beta for a little while as well. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we ran a beta, fixed lots of bugs. I was pretty involved in that beta as well. We had a great turnout, great group of guys and gals that helped us debug the game and find any issues. There was some bugs in the old version of the game that we're certainly hoping to have ironed out. We did some pretty extensive beta testing, so we would really like it to be a 100% smooth experience for everybody. I'm sure there's going to be teething problems as with any new version of a game, but we're looking to update those. And actually, the way the new game works is that we can update the game without any sort of server downtime whatsoever. So any sort of problems crop up, and we should be able to fix those very efficiently and effectively and quickly.
Awesome. Well, this is very exciting news. I mean, it's like for me, it's a whole new motivation to get back in. If I went there today and joined, obviously, I'm still playing the old system until August 26th. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, the beta has since ended. So yeah, the only version that's currently available to play is the old version. However, as I said, there are some similarities there. It is a very different game, but at the same time, it's got a lot of the same kind of core fundamentals. The UI is updated, as I mentioned, but a lot of the same buttons are there, for example. So now is actually not a bad time because you can go in there, get a kind of feel for what it's like, and just keep in the back of your mind that it is going to be updated later this month, as you mentioned, August 26th. But yeah, right now it's the old version up there. But and there's some YouTube videos that explain the game if anybody's curious about it. You could see some footage and all that kind of stuff. And but yeah, it's going to be a pretty different game when it comes out on the 26th. So it should look a lot more modern, a lot smoother, just altogether a better game. I mean, again, I've played both versions of it, and I definitely prefer the new one.
Awesome. Well, like I said, I'm looking for it. It's motivation for me to get into a new league right now, and just well, not right now. I'll wait until the 26th since I played the old one, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm definitely going to get in on it. And again, when you guys get that cross-platform app version, I can see there being a real explosion in a game like this.
Certainly, yeah, that is a big thing, yeah, because finding a multiplayer motorsport management game on the mobile platform is near impossible, if not actually impossible. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but it's a rare thing for sure, if not unique. And you're right. That is going to be quite large for us because with the update, we're still catering to the same crowd. People might hear about it because of the update. They're just finding out about it for the first time. But IGP was always catered to that person, whether they knew about it or not. Now what we're doing is we're trying to open it up to a whole new group of people, really increase the player base. We've already got tens of thousands of players, and on the mobile platform, I could easily see that getting into the six digits.
Absolutely. And quite honestly, I mean, and I'm not giving you guys motivation to be greedy, but it's like on a mobile platform, it almost deserves to be paid just for the app. I mean, I only say that because of what you said. It's like there's so few games of this type available, and honestly, it's such a perfect game for that platform. I just the interface, everything about it with the way you move sliders and things like that. It's like meant for that. It's perfect. So.
Yes, touchscreen was very much a part of the creation of this new one. Jack created this new version of IGP. Jack Bassford, the owner of IGP, he made this version very much keeping in mind that tablets and phones and all that kind of stuff. Wanting to get onto those platforms and everything. So as you mentioned, yeah, things are able to be swiped and stuff like that. So it should be very, very user friendly to somebody that's on a touchscreen device for sure.
And you guys are talking about Q4, so I mean that's not even that far off.
Exactly. Yeah. We're really hoping that it'll be sooner rather than later because yeah, it's very exciting times as you can imagine at IGP. We're very excited about the mobile launch and getting into the mobile market and increasing that player base and really you said it yourself, really blowing up because it should work very well. it's one thing to ask somebody to, as you said, sit down in front of your computer at 9 o'clock in the morning every single week, and otherwise you're not going to have any chance of winning the championship. But it's a whole other thing to say, we just need you to pull out your phone for 30 minutes
Sure.
once a week. That's
Sure.
much easier to do.
And I could be sitting on the couch doing it, watching Formula One. I mean,
Exactly.
it's like that's the dream scenario right there. I mean,
Yeah,
it's for
yeah,
sure.
very easy to multitask with IGP, especially. And again, this is part of the whole catering to as many different types of players as possible. Again, we've got the 1 car and the 2 car leagues. So if you want to be really relaxed with it, join a 1 car league, and then you just got one person to think about. And if you want to really focus and just focus entirely on IGP and only IGP, you can join in a 2 car league, and it just makes things much more complicated and in depth as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, very exciting. I want to thank you again for coming on the show. I think a lot of people are going to get pretty psyched up for this, probably get in on it now and learn some tricks before the new version. But again, thank you. Thank you very much, Justin, for coming on the show. And I'm real excited. And I hope all you out there are also looking forward to the game. You mentioned there's some YouTube channels out there. They're all showing the old interface, though, right?
Yes, yeah, also
Okay.
in the old interface. I don't believe I haven't seen any videos of the new interface, but they might be out there. I don't think because our beta was open, so I don't think they were under NDA or anything like that, as far as I know. So there might be some stuff out there, but yeah, certainly there's some old stuff out there, and like I said, it's sort of the same. You still hire people. You hire people to work, staff people to work for your company that in the game, and you hire drivers, and you update the cars and all that stuff. So a lot of the stuff still carries over. It's just now we want you to be able to play how you want to play. If you're the type of person that likes to conserve tires and do a one-stop strategy, you could do that and still be competitive. That's what we're shooting for.
Awesome. Awesome. It's going to be real fun. Real fun. Thanks again. Thanks again for coming on the show.
Oh, it was my pleasure, Sean. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So there you have it, IGP Manager. If you are looking for that perfect diversion from sim racing, or you're looking for that ultimate fantasy manager type game and keeping it automotive racing, you could do no better than IGP Manager. This is the Sim Pit. I'm Sean Cole, and we will see you on the track.